Max woke up with a dull ache in his head. Not suddenly, not violently, slowly, heavily, as if his body needed time to understand where it was. The floor was cold, the wall behind him rough, the air thick, stale. He blinked several times before the darkness began to take shape. The room was small, too small. No bed, no clock, no visible door, only a narrow opening high on one wall, barely a window, letting in a weak pale light, not enough to tell whether it was early morning or late afternoon. He inhaled deeply. In, out, again. He tried to move. His muscles protested, stiff and sore. Slowly, he sat up, pressing his back against the wall. Fragments of memory surfaced. The convenience store, the smile when he saw her message, the step toward the door, then nothing. A metallic sound cut through the silence. Clack. Max lifted his gaze. A small hatch had opened in the wall across from him, no larger than a plate. Darkness on the other side. A woman's voice followed. Firm, neutral. Wake up. Food. A hand pushed something through the opening. A plastic cup of cold coffee, a piece of bread wrapped in paper. The smell was indistinct, uninviting. The hatch stayed open for a few seconds, long enough for Max to stare at the food and not touch it. Then part of her face appeared in the opening. Sharp eyes, calculating. Eat. It's not poisoned, she said flatly. If anyone here wanted you dead, you'd already be dead. The hatch closed with a dry snap. Clack. Max swallowed. Silence returned. He stayed seated, staring at the bread as if it didn't belong in reality. He closed his eyes and thought of her. Masha. The quiet way she spoke, the restrained smile, the way she'd thanked him at the kiosk without explaining why. Where was she now? Probably working, probably noticing he hadn't shown up, probably thinking he was just busy. He opened his eyes. Guilt came before fear. At the bar, the day began like any other. Same light through the windows, same smell of fresh coffee, same sound of bottles behind the counter. Masha arrived at her usual time. She greeted Winston with a small nod, put on her apron, started her routine. Everything felt normal. Too normal. She checked the clock for the first time when she realized something was missing. Max hadn't arrived. Unusual, but not impossible. She kept working, restocking shelves, wiping tables, serving customers. Still, her eyes drifted toward the door more often than necessary. Nothing. Time passed. Late morning, then early afternoon. Nothing. It was only near the end of the shift that she spoke. Is Max not coming today? The question sounded casual, practiced. Winston looked up from the coffee machine. It doesn't look like it, he said, frowning slightly. Why? For no reason, Masha replied too quickly. I've never seen him miss a day. Winston paused. That is strange, he said. He really doesn't miss work. When he needs time off, he always says something. This time he didn't. As he spoke, he watched her, not suspiciously, just observant. Masha felt it. Really? She said, trying to sound neutral. He's never missed a day? A micro-expression slipped through. Brief, barely there. Concern. Winston noticed. Why are you so worried? He asked lightly, almost joking as he poured coffee into a cup. He handed her the cup. Masha took it, breathed. We're work friends, she said, steadying herself. All of us are, right? I just thought it was odd. Winston smiled faintly. What's odd is you explaining yourself so much. She looked away. Yeah, I just thought it was strange, she ended the subject. I'll finish restocking. Winston didn't reply. He simply nodded. As she walked away, Masha felt foolish. Maybe she was overthinking. Maybe Max had something to deal with. Maybe his phone was dead. She tried to convince herself, but something didn't sit right. Later that evening, at home, she picked up her phone, typed a short message. No concern, no pressure. Hey, everything okay? Sent. Placed the phone beside her, waited. 30 minutes. Nothing. An hour. Still nothing. That wasn't like him. She tried again. She called. 1 ring, 2. On the 3rd, someone answered. Hello? The woman's voice was calm, controlled, strangely familiar. Masha froze. On the other end, the woman continued, glancing at some documents in her hands. Max won't be able to answer right now. We're a bit busy, in the middle of something. Masha's heart raced. She tried to speak. Nothing came out. The voice. She knew that voice. She didn't know how, she didn't know from where, but she knew it. She swallowed. Silence stretched between them. Too long. Then, without saying a word, Masha hung up. She stared at her phone as if it might explain itself. A woman with him, the thought surfaced, but didn't settle. It didn't fit Max, not his demeanor. What disturbed her wasn't the idea. It was the voice. She lay awake all night, staring at the ceiling, turning in bed, trying to remember where she had heard that voice before. Meanwhile, in a small, dark room with no sense of time, Max held the bread in his hands, ate in silence, wondering if he had made the right choice, and unaware that that phone call had just changed everything.